Good morning, everybody. My name is Christiana Davidson, and I'm a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist. And I specialize in the area of uh, narcissistic family systems, particularly, and the impact of that upon adults later in life. Now, the topic today is a bit different from my usual variety. And let's dive straight into it here. So the topic is my concerns about everyone diagnosing narcissists in their lives. It's quite common these days to hear somebody say, oh, this person's a narcissist. Oh, this one's narcissistic too. Look at all these traits, giving the evidence for it. And there quite possibly is some truth in that. It may be 100% true that this person is a narcissist. But the thing is, and what my concern is that I believe we need to be careful ourselves of using this as a sort of excuse to become judgmental and critical of others. So you see, the reason that often people do become critical and judgmental of others is because it has the effect, the payoff of raising one's own self-esteem. If you do have a low self-esteem, sometimes by sort of calling out the failures in others, or the negative aspects, or the what's wrong with this other person, can sort of instantly just raise one's own self-esteem a little bit. Because what it does is it makes us feel as if, oh, we're actually a bit better than this other person, and it can sort of have the sense of, well, I'm better than them, I'm not like them, I'm above them. And if you think about it, that in itself is a narcissistic trait. So this is my concern at the moment with this whole trend of diagnosing others, because we know that yes, in our world at the moment there is a lot of narcissism. The whole world is almost geared to being narcissistic. However, we also know that many people have low self-esteems, and that a tendency when one has low self-esteem is to become judgmental, is to become critical in order to just raise one's own self-worth a little bit. And I think there may be some of this mixed up in the trend at the moment. Good morning, Vicky. Thank you for being here. So what am I actually suggesting on this Monday morning? Am I saying we need to stop judging others? Well, no, that is exactly what I'm not saying here. I mean, we are given this gift as human beings of being able to judge, to make right judgment about situations, events, people. That's part of what being human is. And if any of you know me by now, I'm also a woman of faith. I come from a Christian background, and if I look to the Gospels, Jesus was very judgmental, contrary to what most people, well, a lot of people might think. He was quite willing to call out the BS of the Pharisees in a very clear and public way. So there I'm given a demonstration of, no, actually we are called upon to use our right judgment. However, we have to use it wisely, and this is what I think where it's getting a bit murky. So I'm starting to believe that there's a kind of a slippery slope between healthy judgment, healthy calling out, healthy observation of the narcissistic traits in another, and then there's unhealthy judgment, which I feel some of us, and myself included, have ended up leaning more towards. So healthy judgment is about observing a person or a situation, possibly calling it out. And when I say calling it out, I mean sort of being willing to say, well, that's not how I like to be, or that's not how I like to behave. And then accepting that person or situation as they are. And from this point, from observing to accepting the person as they are, as they present themselves, then the judgment falls on me, not on them. I've already done the judgment on them. Then the judgment's on me. Okay, how am I going to take responsibility for how I show up in this relationship going forward? Because I think what happens a lot of the time is people are tending to stay in these relationships without taking any responsibility for themselves. They keep going back and they keep staying and they keep making judgments. Oh, look, here's more evidence and more and more. Oh, look what he did next. Look what she did then. Look what they said here. Look how this. And there's this constant sort of accruing of evidence, which actually is an addiction, because it's an addiction because people are raising their own self-esteem by constantly pulling out the negative in the narcissist, because it makes them feel better than the narcissist. And this is unhealthy. This is unhealthy. And it really is narcissistic in some ways. And it's something that we all need to just be aware of. So if I keep going back and I'm expecting a different result, in other words, if I'm not accepting this person as they are, then I am the one at fault and I have no right to judge them. So it's not about seeing and experiencing them over and over and continually coming away and calling out their BS and looking for more and more evidence of how bad they are and how they need to change. That is unhealthy judgment. That is unwise judgment. It's actually about seeing their behavior, acknowledging your experience of them, trusting your own gut, in other words, but then it's taking appropriate and responsible action. And it's actually releasing them to be as they are, to live their lives as they see fit, because they don't need to change at all. They are not required to. So when we make judgment of someone else, it requires us, it really will require us to stop enabling ourselves in the situation and enabling them, and fueling your resentment by expecting them to be different. I hope this is making sense. If you take away from this video today just one thing, judging another is something important, and it's something that we are required to do as responsible adults. However, there is a tendency, especially when you come from childhood trauma, difficult family backgrounds, to use judging others as a means of raising one's own self-esteem and making ourselves feel better by calling out the problems in another. That is unhealthy. That's where it swings into the unhealthy judgment. And many of us actually use staying in narcissistic relationships to distract us from the underlying low self-esteem that we don't want to face. And this is where I help clients really tackle this. You know, at the core of everything is your low self-esteem. We've got to get in there, got to change your self-image. And that's a negative self-image. The low self-esteem one was formed in childhood, and we got to get in there and we got to go back and rewrite that to the truth. So if you're looking to do any of that work, book in with me. I've got a program that's very unlike any other. And I'd be delighted to meet you, first of all, and then if it's right, to be your guide into freedom. Vicky, thank you. Yes, it does cause brain damage after years with them. Yeah, if we stay, you know, we're only harming ourselves. And that's not, you know, look, it's understandable, but it's not only on them. You know, we have choice, and we have to use our judgment wisely in our own best interests, and allow others to be as they are. It's not for us to change them. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Vicky, and I shall see you in a video soon. Take care.